Morning starting at 8.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Tiny Dancer wants two things from Jussie Smollett. He wants $130,000.
Yeah, he sent him a bill yesterday.
And he wants an acknowledgement of guilt. Otherwise, he's going to get Brother Ari, to make sure Jussie Smollett never works in that town called Hollywood again.
Given that he doesn't feel any sense of contrition and remorse, my recommendation is when he writes the check, in the memo section, he can put the word, "I'm accountable," for the hoax.
That's a lot to write in the memo section. And
I want the taxpayers and the people of the city of Chicago, beyond money, beyond the financial,
is he beating
but
the
acknowledgement
podium like Khrushchev?
that was done here was wrong.
He's been on a 3-day crusade, going after Jussie Smollett, which is good. And Jussie Smollett, rest assured, guys, we're okay. He's out of Chicago. He's in Los Angeles today preparing for the Image Awards.
NAACP Image Awards, where hopefully, I agree with Anthony Anderson about this. Tawana Brawley declined the nomination. Jussie Smollett nominated. Hope he wins as well, because I'd love to hear the acceptance speech. Regarding Tiny Dancer's demands, Jussie Smollett's defense team sent the mayor a statement. It is the mayor and the police chief who owe him an apology for dragging an innocent man's character through the mud. Jussie has paid enough through the, little drop in Empire's ratings. I mean, how much more must this man endure?
Well, he's going to have to endure the wrath of President Trump, who is now involved.
Maybe the only time I've ever agreed with the mayor of Chicago. I think the case in Chicago is an absolute embarrassment to our country. And I have asked that they look at it.
Chicago, an embarrassment to the country. So stipulated. Now, there is, we did hear from Tina Glandian.
I call her the big boobed attorney. Well, you don't let that hang out when you're in court.
Oh, my goodness, please.
Oh, come on. Have some decorum.
Good grief. I don't even see these things. I just know her to be Smollett's attorney, and she took to the airwaves yesterday again to provide more color to the Smollett story.
First, she went on GMA and was talking about what happened, but this one took the cake. Now, are you ready for this? Because Jussie told police, and we all saw a copy of that police report, that he saw white skin underneath that black ski mask. So why were their skins white? Because they're
the Nigerian
they're
brothers.
Nigerian brothers. This is great. You ready for this?
Well, I think there's obviously you can disguise that. You could put makeup on. There is actually, interestingly enough, a video. I think police did minimal investigation in this case. It took me all of 5 minutes to Google. I was looking up the brothers, and one of the first videos that showed up actually was one of the brothers in whiteface doing a Joker monologue with white makeup on. And so it's not implausible.
And you can hear Savannah Guthrie laughing. I mean, she believes that the Asendario brothers may have been wearing whiteface. Are you kidding me?
I love the not impossible line of argumentation. It's possible this could have happened. It's sure. Well, right. Sure. Anything's possible. What evidence is there to support that claim? Well, that's where it gets a little sketchy from the perspective of Smollett. Speaking of the Nigerian brothers, whatever happened to those guys? And also, I'm curious to know if they really did recant, as Smollett's attorney seemed to indicate, but the state's attorney's office did not. Well, I think we have somebody who can provide some answers for us. She is Gloria Schmidt, who was a former legal representative, former attorney for the Nigerian brothers in question. Ms. Schmidt, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Happy to be on. Happy to set the record straight.
Well, please do. So what about Smollett's attorneys suggesting that they recanted?
That I don't know why they would say that. There's absolutely no evidence to support that. So, number one, I just want to clear something up. I still represent the brothers as their general counsel. What happens here in Illinois is a case gets started, you have your agreement in writing, and maybe other attorneys do this, but I don't stay on a case and keep charging a client for work that I'm not doing.
Well,
So,
that is
admirable.
highly unusual. Are you sure that is? Are you sure that squares with the canons? I think you could be in some legal trouble there.
well, so any media I'm not billing them for because the jury case is over. My job was to prepare them for jury, get them in touch with the state's attorney, and we had diaried to be there April 17th, which was the next court date. Mm-hmm. There's no more court date, so it's over. But I still represent them. I'm still helping them, do the next steps for them in their personal lives. So I talk to them every day. I talked to them last night.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know it's not so nefarious, my withdrawal. It just didn't, no reason to bill the clients for services that are not being provided anymore.
Well, good for you. Well, what did you ask them about this white face comment that now Jussie's team is saying that they put on white face and then put on those black ski masks?
Yeah, I asked them about that, and they started laughing. And they don't laugh. I mean, these guys don't. They're very reserved, but this made them actually laugh. And to think that they would even do the hate crime, like to think that they would actually perpetuate an assault and battery on this person for his sexual orientation or his race, it's preposterous. They were asked to do, this phony publicity stunt. They were asked to do it. So by definition, it's not an assault or a battery. For her to even throw that out there is so offensive on the deepest level. It's just it's what gives lawyers a bad name. Just throwing things out of the air to see what'll stick. I mean,
sure.
It's just gross.
Anything's possible. Here's what I think happened. Since I'm going to do the same thing Tina Glandian did. Here's what I think happened. I think, and I'm borrowing from Jussie Smollett's compelling testimony on Good Morning America. Here's what I think happened. So these guys accost Jussie Smollett. One guy punches him, and then, as Smollett says, he punched that guy back. And then they ran off because they were afraid. And so what's happening now is they're saying it was staged, and Jussie Smollett enlisted them to stage this because they're embarrassed. Those two monstrous bodybuilding Nigerians are embarrassed that they got their ass kicked by Jussie Smollett. That's what this is all about.
Did you see Abel punch some dude out of the ring on YouTube? Do you know that he's won all of his amateur fights in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks? He has another tournament coming up in a few weeks here in April. If my guys wanted to beat the snot out of him, they could have.
Right. So Jussie, right, and didn't he hit himself to make that little,
yes,
branch scratch on his face? So the one question
shows
that
that he's got a good right too.
Yeah, but the one question that I've always had is, did they rehearse this? Where did they rehearse this? Hoax. Can you say?
So Saturday the 25th, I believe, Jussie had picked him up, and they drove around, and Jussie said, "All right, this is where I want you to come and get me. I'm going to be walking this way. I don't want Ola to, the older brother, I don't want you to do any of the punching."
Yeah.
And in the grand jury, I remember, I think one of the questions was, did Jussie not think you could pull a punch? Something like that. And Ola said no. And the grand jury members started laughing. So Ola's job was simply just to hold the bleach and the noose and to scream that this was MAGA country. Mm-hmm. And it was, Abel's job to kind of like play fight with him.
Since the brothers have identified themselves as Trump supporters, were they at the rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan last night by any chance? So
I don't think that they've identified us.
So don't they want to
I'm
come
kidding.
forward though and tell
Yeah,
their
I'm kidding.
story? I mean, I know everyone's chomping at the bit to get the brothers on with their side of the story. Do they have any interest in doing that? Are we going to hear from them soon, or if ever?
This is what I'm so proud of them. They could have been really, jumping for the cameras and getting all the spotlight and, taking the. They could have, and they haven't. And the reason they haven't is because they don't want to be part of this crazy circus. They do want to tell their side of the story, but they want to do it in a way that, and no offense to any of the news organizations that have had me, it's been great. But you do a 10-minute interview, and what they use is what they want to use. A snippet here, a clip here. It's like a 3-minute segment. Is that really how they want to tell their story?
we could do a very special morning answer here. We're unedited. We're happy to have them in studio. Tell
And then
their
we could
story.
go work out together because I need to.
Yeah,
I need to work.
$3,500 is the going rate. So just going back, the communication between the brothers and Smollett since the incident, what, if any, has there been?
I think that there's been, after the arrest, there hasn't been any contact from my clients to Mr. Smollett. You have to, after their arrest, I should clarify. There was a text message that came in from Jussie to my client, I think while they were in actually being detained. There was one. Then after Jussie was arrested, there was none. And you have to remember, had we had any contact with them, it would have been my obligation to call the police and let them know.
Mm-hmm.
What did he text them while they were being questioned by police? Are you at liberty to say?
I'm not at liberty to say, but that's also part of their story, and he has that text, and it's a very interesting text. But I'm going to let Abel talk about that.
Well, what about when charges were dropped against Jussie Smollett? Did he then reach out to the brothers?
Not that I know of. It's possible he maybe sent him a text or two, but nothing that I'm aware of.
Explain if you could, detail your interaction with Chicago police on behalf of your clients and with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office on behalf of your clients from beginning to everything that transpired this week.
From beginning, we had, I went down to Area Central, which is where the guys were being held up after they were detained at Customs in O'Hare. So it was Valentine's Day, I remember. That first day, the police were just kind of feeling me out, seeing what it is I was, there's kind of always a little bit of a rift between defense attorney and the police. And then I told them, I'm sorry, guys, I can't work like this. They were giving me the room with the bulletproof glass, and I could barely hear the clients, and I had spent basically the whole day just trying to get to meet them, having a very logistically difficult time. So that first day for me was a real throwaway. What I did after I met them was I did my own investigation. I drove the route. I got out of my car. I walked around where the alleged attack happened. I walked up the stairwell, and I'm like, something does not smell right with this. There's just no way. This was too planned. Why would they be standing there? It's like polar vortex weather. So, and the guys, it was, like I said, it was very hard to hear them because we're in the lockup, and I'm sitting through the glass with the phone. Okay, so the next day that I go, which is Friday, I said to the police, please, can you let me have a contact visit, which means you get to sit in a room with your client. And they don't usually do that. But the police in this case said, you know what, it is noisy, it is hard to understand. So, yeah, So that's when I really got to talk to them and tell them about the details. What had happened the day before that had infuriated everyone, really, was Robin Roberts'
Interview.
Yeah,
like
interview.
the interview, right? So that had aired, I think, on Thursday. And so they let me bring in my laptop. The police were like, you know what, do what you need to do. We'll give you time. And so I started talking to them and told them, hey, stay lawyered up. It's good for me. We'll have a trial on a hate crime. Excuse me. So the police were there really to just let me do my thing. I brought my co-counsel, Jorge. And then once I told them that the interview had aired and this was a lot bigger than they probably had thought, if you were helping your friend do a publicity stunt that you thought wouldn't go further than the Fox people on your show, then this is your this is the time. If you're going to set the record straight, this is the time. Or you can stay lawyered up, and I'm happy to do that too. No problem. I can take this to trial. I'm confident that you didn't do a hate crime, so stay lawyered up. It's completely up to you. And they both said to me, Gloria, we don't want to be part of this fraud. Like that's not how we were raised.
And so then, so then obviously they start to work with police and the state's attorney's office. And then the announcement this week that the charges were being dropped. Did you get any notice from the state's attorney's office about that decision?
None. And last week, I don't even want to say last week. It was just days of Monday, no, Thursday, Friday. I had spoken with Rissa directly. I had spoken with the unit for victim advocates. They had assigned a victim advocate to my clients, each of them. Ola and Abel got their own victim advocate. And we were coordinating times for the guys and myself to come to 26 in California to kind of start getting used to the idea of testifying in the jury room. That can be a very intimidating setting. We were told we would have seats if we wanted to go on April 17th. I said, absolutely, we'll be there. So it's like what changed between our few days ago conversation. You were so nice and accommodating and proud of my client, to, Mr. Smollett, he completed some conditions and we dismissed the case. And I told them, how could you not call me first? How could you not check in with the city? The mayor is, super pissed. How could you not? And they said, well, we have no obligation to check in with them, and we have no obligation to check in with you.
There was rumors about the relationship between Smollett and the two brothers. One was an extra on the set of Empire. Apparently, there was, of course, all of this business about them being a personal, or one of them being a personal trainer for him, getting ready for some role. And there was also rumors about there was a romantic relationship between Smollett and one of the brothers. Is that last rumor? Is there any truth to that?
I think the rumors that were out there were because some of the text messages, but nothing from my client to Jussie. It was how Jussie spoke to my client. There's no truth to any of the rumors that they were sexual partners. I had asked Abel that countless times, but I think that those rumors got started because of the way that Jussie would text Abel. And let me tell you, just on the training part, amazing. Their bodies are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
They're amazing trainers.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dan
amazing
aspires
trainers.
to look like them.
Right. I got to scrape together $3,500, but are they staying in Chicago, and what is next for them, generally speaking?
Truthfully, they want to. It's going to be a little hard for them to stay here. They're very recognizable I don't want to say in a bad way, but kind of in a bad way, because they want to talk to them about this case, and they want to get back to work. They want to put food on the table for their family.
Well, is he
I'm
still
trying
going
to
to be
get
an
them
extra on
agent.
Empire? Oh, I'm sorry. Is he still going to be an extra on Empire, or did they cut ties with him?
I don't know. That's a really good question. He was a stand-in,
Yeah.
not an extra. He,
Oh,
he stood in for one of the characters. Do you know what a stand-in is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
no, we know. Yeah.
Jussie Smollett body double, obviously.
I have a stand-in that's with me all the time.
Yeah, sure.
No, but I just hope they don't take it out on him because they're all backing Jussie over there, the writers, the producers, the fellow actors, and I'd hate for him to, not get some money and lose a job because of Jussie. Because Jussie doesn't care about them. He threw them under a bus. I mean, he didn't care if they got charged with a hate crime, and he's still, perpetuating this lie that they're the ones who attacked him. Still, even though their cell phone records, they were just talking to each other on the phone, and then all of a sudden they're beating the crap out of each other. I mean, it's just any sane person knows what's going on, what the truth is.
Right. And you know what? Had Jussie not been greedy with the symbolism, the news, the bleach, the MAGA hats, I mean, there was a very clear motive here, and that was to really discredit, Trump supporters. And I don't know that we have a lot of Trump supporters in Streeterville, Chicago, but it's certainly
Just
not
me.
MAGA country.
It's just me,
And
yeah.
I would venture to say that Chicago is one of the places where you could walk down the street in a hot pink boa and no one's gonna care. Like, do you be you? We love everyone.
We do.
She is Gloria Schmidt, attorney for the Nigerian brothers in this whole Smollett saga.
Hey,
Yes.
they're American.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't like
well,
that.
okay,
I know, you're
Nigerian
right.
American brothers, but I mean, okay, Nigerian American brothers.
They're born and raised in Chicago.
And we're happy to have them.
Yeah, we are happy. I don't want them to move. They should stand strong. And we love them. They should know, Gloria, tell them that they are very loved, and we're sorry what happened to them and how their friend bamboozled them.
Well, the Asundario brothers.
Asundario
They have names too. So
Yes.
okay. All right, Gloria. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You guys take care.
You too. Take care.
Thanks so much, Gloria. We really appreciate it. And she joined us on our